You can start with it.
Right. Good evening, cherished students. I've seen that about 35 of you have logged on, and we are going to start. This is in connection with your practicum, the forthcoming practicum, and we have planned an orientation for you so that you know exactly what you are expected to do. So we begin. I don't know whether, can you see the screen?
Yes, Prof.
All
Yes,
right.
please.
So we'll be going through the screen whilst I talk, right? This is not the first time I'm teaching you, so you know how I teach. So I believe you'll be conversant with how I talk and how proceedings will go, right? Yes, we are talking about practicum, your practicum, and you might have some expectations, and the university too have expectations, right? Probably the university expectation is that you go to the field, work hard, meet clients, either in groups or individually, and have the practice what you have learned with them, and help in counseling your clients. On your part, I believe you all have expectation, and your expectation might be, I'm just guessing, might be that you develop, professionally, for your professional development, and have experience of counseling in the field. It's unfortunate that because of time factor and the way our program was scheduled, we couldn't actually do this practice, and we couldn't do this practice whilst in class. But with this orientation, I believe when you go to the field and with the theories and the lessons that you had under counseling psychology, especially the practicum aspect, you'll be able to practice in the field. Now, you know that counseling is an applied psychology. An applied psychology, it means that the theories and the principles that you learn theoretically in the classroom, you go outside and apply. So it's an applied psychology, just like clinical psychology, educational psychology, and so forth and so on. So this practicum component is an opportunity for you to practice the theories and the principles and whatever you have learned theoretically, right? Now, as part of the requirements, Ghana Psychological Council, I believe you have heard this name before. We mentioned it whilst we were in class. Ghana Psychological Council have some requirements which we have to meet during our practical sessions. And we will talk about that as we box on. And then this practicum is also for your professional development. Now, as you practice, you go to the field to practice, you develop yourself, and it can serve as one of the things you can put on your CV. Wherever you go, you can display, you can portray that you have had some kind of professional improvement of yourself. It is also our civic responsibility. UEW mandate said as we train teachers, our mandate is to train teachers, apart from that, to do research, and have community services. So it is also our mandate, or your mandate, to do this practicum and render services to Ghana, services to the community, services to your neighbors or your environment. It is also for your self-awareness and self-development, as I said, professional development, or your self-development. So when we talk about practicum, what exactly do we mean? you might have heard the name, but actually might be disillusioned about what actually we mean by practicum. Now, practicum is a coherent training experiences you students, master's students experience. Now, it is in a broad array of excuse me, the person with the music should minimize the music, please. There's music at the background. There's music at the background. Can the person minimize it? Now, so the practical aspect is one of the characteristics of the counseling psychology. So this practical component include everything that you learn in class, you know, psychotherapy, group counseling, individual counseling, couple family counseling, career counseling, and all this. All these things are incorporated in the practicum aspect of what you are going to do, right? And it also provides you the opportunity to experience appropriate assessment in diversity of cases within a multicultural setting. And currently, it is allowed that you can do intake by phone, you know, through phones. You can do your intakes, try and formal intake interviews. It can be formal, one-on-one, face-to-face. Okay, so the intake can take in a form of phone calls, okay, and then you have face-to-face interviews. Now, you can also use vocational and psychological assessment, vocational assessment, testing, and clinical assessment, and then counseling cases which comes to you. The practicum is also an opportunity to practice the knowledge and the theories that you students have acquired from lectures or reading or your personal research and your encounter with the real life situation. So in short, this is what the practicum, when we say practicum, counseling practicum, this is in short what we mean. We mean that what you have learned from lectures, the knowledge you have gained from lectures, the reading, the research, and the theories that you know, you are going to put them in practice in the field, okay, as you meet clients up there. Now, since you are exposed to clients outside the university, actually, what we should have done is to give you a pre-practicum orientation, not orientation, but I mean, practicum session in course of our lessons with you. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that, but we are giving you this orientation so that when you go up there, you actually know what you are expected to do. Actually, we should have had pre-practicum sessions with you, but unfortunately, like I said, the way our program was scheduled, we couldn't do it. But this will actually help you do something in the field. Now, we want to talk about the Ghana Psychological Council requirements. Yeah, the Ghana Psychological Council, I said, you know, this association, they have requirements as far as your licensing is concerned. So whenever students are going to have their practicum, we embed or we ask you to meet their requirements so that when you come out, finally, when you graduate, finally, you can be given license, can apply for your license and you join the association. Now, they have a requirement for the psychology program at the various levels of education. And for the sake of unification, they said that students offering psychology or any aspect of psychology must take 6 general courses, which already you have done, 6 general courses, and complete 600 hours of supervised practicum, 600 hours. So Before you are given license to practice as a psychologist or a clinical psychologist or counseling psychologist, whatever aspect of psychology, you need to do 6 hours supervised practicum. So bear that in mind, and I'll walk you through how you can achieve this 600 hours supervised practicum. Now, you have several rotations to choose from, right? Administration, you can, if you are doing administrative work, which is in line or which is connected with counseling, you can earn credit over there. Teaching assistant, if you are a teaching assistant related to counseling, you gain credit or you gain hours over there. Research assistants also will give you some credit hours. Testing, when you apply test on your clients, you gain number of hours, and then counseling itself, you gain hours. And you can also develop your specialty, your expertise areas during your practicum. For example, in crisis, those who did crisis counseling, you develop this area, you develop yourself in this area. It means that you have first-hand experience of crisis counseling, career, testing, group counseling, premarital, marital, and psychoeducational. All these things are areas that you gain experience when you do your practicum. Further, you can do individual counseling of children, adolescents, young adults, youth, and adults. They are all part of the clients that you can do individual counseling. Further, let's look at areas, the sites that you can do your practicum. This is very, very important. Take note of them. Pre-tertiary schools can be in a private school or a public school. University counseling centers. Now, those of you at Cape Coast or near universities, private or public universities, there are counseling centers. You can go there to have your practicum. Churches, remand homes, children's homes, vocational technical institutes, DOVSU, psychiatric units and clinics, marketplaces, anywhere crisis occur. I remember last year, somebody came to ask me whether he can do this thing at a place where they do, how do you call it, betting. And I said, so that's crisis. He said, yeah, people fight over there and they do a whole lot of things. I said, okay, if you can get clients there, then you can do it. So anywhere crisis occur, you can pick as a site for your practicum. Hospitals, okay, hospitals and clinics, cancer units, detoxification units, orthopedic units, maternity, surgery, emergency, COVID wards, you can have your practicum there. Degenerative medicine practices, children's wards, antenatal and postnatal clinics, HIV/AIDS clinics. These are all areas open wide for you to have your practicum. So there are a variety of areas that you can select to exercise your practice. Okay, the next slide couldn't come clearly. Okay, right. So I said we will talk about the Ghana Psychological Council, their requirements. So what are their requirements? So you are required to complete 600 hours of direct contact hours. 600 hours of direct contact hours. I know many people will ask me questions about this 600, but don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. I'll walk you through the way you can make it. Now, what do we mean by direct hours? It means that you provide counseling. If you provide counseling for 1 hour, you clock 1 hour. you are credited with 1 hour for 1 hour counseling session. So if you took 2 hours, you credit yourself with what? 2 hours. If 3 hours, 3 hours credit hours. Now, and this requirement is mandatory to gain the license of Ghana Psychological Association. It's mandatory for psychologists in this country because it is backed by law. It is mandatory. Take note of that. Because of the 600 credit hours you need to make, it is suggested that you need to target 2 or 3 sites. You don't pick only one site, one school or one clinic. You target 2 or 3 sites where you can meet more clients, 20 or more clients. Are you getting it? So all the sites that I've enumerated and others you can also pick. Target 2. You can pick a church and pick a school. You can, or 2 schools. You can pick a clinic and as many as possible schools and have your practicum there. Okay, so as to make the 600 credit hours that we are talking. Because if you meet one client for 1 hour, you spend 1 hour with the client, you earn 1 hour. You earn 1 hour. So the suggestion or the advice is that pick 2 or 3 or more sites if you have the strength to go around. So let's do some calculations here. Right. So as you see on your screen, one-on-one individual counseling, you earn 1 hour per session. 1 hour per session. Then administration of tests, if you administer a test to the client, you earn 1 hour. Interpretation of the test and report writing, you earn 1 hour. So when you administer a test, it's 1 hour. When you pick the test and interpret the test, you earn another hour. Writing case notes, after meeting the client, the notes that you write also takes 30 minutes per session. 30 minutes per session, not 30 minutes per client, 30 minutes per session. So if you have, let's say, 8 sessions with a client, it is 8 times what? 30 minutes, which will be 4 hours, right? Now, couple, family, and group counseling per session takes 1 hour, 30 minutes per session. So you take them 8 weeks per group. So within these 8 weeks, can you imagine the number of sessions you will have with them? And it is 1 hour, 30 minutes per session, right? Screening for group counseling. Now, those of you who did group counseling, when you are screening to form the groups, you have 30 minutes per client. Then grief counseling, the first session takes 2 hours. Then subsequent sessions takes 1 hour per session. Grief counseling. Then outreach psychoeducational presentation, outreach programs take 1 hour. So if you gather somewhere, maybe at the marketplace, and you are giving them psychoeducational training or whatever, you earn 1 hour. Then prep for outreach preparation and a presentation and prep of outlines also take 1 hour. So if you are going to have outreach program and you prepare, the preparation alone takes 1 hour. You see that it is easy to make up these 600 credit hours because with all these things, outreach program preparation will take 1 hour, the presentation will take 1 hour, then you meet individual counselees and so forth and so on. You'll be accumulating the credit, the hours as you work. Now, crisis counseling, the first session takes 2 hours and subsequent sessions take what? 1 hour. So crisis counseling, imagine you are meeting the client for 6 sessions or 8 sessions. So the first session takes 2 hours and the rest, the 7 sessions, remaining sessions is 7 hours, right? So that is how we calculate it. Then teaching assistant, You take 1 hour per session, and then research assistant to 1 hour. Then live supervision. So sitting with your client and supervising the client is also 1 hour per session. And then one-on-one individual supervision. Here, no client presented is also 1 hour. Then triadic or group supervision. You know, when you go to see your supervisor, you earn hours. When you go to see your supervisor for supervision on supervision basis, you earn 1 hour. Then attending professional seminars, conferences, you also have 1 hour credit for yourself. So these are all the things that you can do to accumulate hours to meet the requirement of 600 credit hours. Doc. Right. Thank you very much, Doc. Yeah, so can we progress? Right. So let's do some calculations over here. There is a case scenario over here, and I want you to see how it works. So if you see 20 individual clients over a period of 8 weeks, look at how it is calculated, or it will go. So the 20 clients multiplied by 8 sessions. We said one session is 1 hour. So if you meet a client for 8 sessions, multiply by 20 clients, you gain 160 hours. If you administer a test to each of them, you gain 20 hours because there are 20 clients. Each client takes 1 hour. So if you administer a test, it's 20 hours. If you interpret the test and wrote a report for each of them, you gain 20 hours. Now, case note, if you write your case note report for each session is 30 minutes. So the 160 hours, you gain 80 hours. Then individual supervision, at least once a week. You know, individual supervision is once a week. So if you do once a week, you gain 8 hours. But if you are able to do twice a week, it will be 16 hours. Group supervision, once a week, you gain 8 hours. So if you go through, for example, if you go through these activities, you gain 296 hours. 296 hours. So you realize that if you work hard, you can make the 600 credit hours with just 20 clients. And as I suggested to you, don't limit yourself to only one site. You can pick 2 or 3 sites so that if you have 60 clients, for example, in these 3 sites, look at the number of hours you accumulate. Now, what kind of preparation do you make for your practicum? So first, you select the site for your practicum. And as I said, select 2 or 3 or more sites so as to make the hours. Then collect introductory letter from your institute. It means that ITECPD will give you introductory letter, you collect it. I don't know, we may ask the coordinators to give you such introductory letters, or ITECPD will, yeah, I'm told that you've been given the introductory letters, right? But if you are going to 2 or more sites, then it means that each of the sites you need introductory letter, and you can duplicate the introductory letters for that purpose. Then you confirm the sites with your supervisor. So you let your supervisor know the sites that you have chosen. and your supervisor will tell you that it is appropriate or not appropriate. Then you provide the supervisor with the details of the site and the direction and the contact address, because it might be possible that your supervisor will come there, No, it's a supervised practicum. Your supervisor should follow up to see whether you are there, to see whether you are practicing or what you are doing over there. And then you prepare and provide details of working schedule to your supervisor. So your supervisor should know your working schedules. If you have chosen a site, if it is a school, let the supervisor know which of the days that you are and between which periods that you are there to conduct your practicum or meet your clients. It is very, very important. So these are the preparations that you need to make before you go for your practicum, especially confirming the sites you have chosen with your supervisors. Now, let's look at what I said, the case notes, how you're going to go about it. Now, your case notes must be prepared using the outlines given by the guide to practicum, right? The case notes. Now, you are reminded that the case note or the notes that you write on your client or in your practice should be immediate after seeing a client. It should be immediate. Don't wait till after some days that you say, I'm going to write the report on my client. It must be immediate. And then you type them the same day and keep them in your folder. This is very, very important, because otherwise you might forget. If you meet 2-3 clients, you might forget what you did with the first client or the second client. So please, it must be what? Immediate. And then at the end of the practicum, you present these case notes and all your experiences, the tests you have conducted, whether group counseling, individual counseling, crisis counseling, whatever, or family counseling, whatever you have done, you combine and present your practicum report. This is what we are going to vet. Your supervisor is going to read and grade you per the report that you have submitted. So the case notes must be prepared immediately after seeing your client. Don't forget about that. Then we expect you to have a video recording of at least 5 clients. Video recording of at least 5 clients. And don't forget, for confidentiality and anonymity sake, you need to seek their consent before you video them. If they say no, please don't have to. But they must allow you, they must give their consent before you video your sessions. You can also audio record, but seek their consent before you do that. Audio recording or video recording. If you choose that, I'll talk with the coordinator at ITECPD because of how do you call it, the cost of this kind of thing. So you can do the video on your phone. This time around, you students, you have the iPhones, the most expensive phones. So you can video using your this thing, or you can contract, if you have money, you can contract somebody to come and do it. But be mindful of confidentiality, a third person coming in to do that. So we expect you to provide audio recordings or video recordings of your sessions. Now, case notes, as I've said, you write the notes immediately after each session or after meeting your client, and then you must also include at least 5 clients. Video and audio recording is very, very important. Thank you very much for all that I've said. So we have talked about what is practicum. We have also talked about your mandate as a student, as a psychology student, and we have also talked about Ghana Psychological Council's requirements. We have talked about that, and I've walked you through how you can meet this requirement. I've introduced you to the various sessions that you can pick and do your practicum. And I advise you to select not one, not two, but 3 or more sessions so as to be able to make the 600 credit hours. And I've also discussed with you the requirement, what you need, the preparation that you need to make before you get there, and your interaction with your supervisors. You must let the supervisors know, be aware of where you are, and your schedule plan, time schedule, when you are practicing, when you are in your settings practicing, so that your supervisors can do the follow-up and see what you are doing over there. And don't forget, finally, I said you should write your case notes immediately after meeting your client. And then also you must compile a report which you will present finally to your practicum supervisors for assessment. Thank you very much. If there are any questions for clarification, you can ask them.
Prof. Good evening, Prof.
Good evening.
Please, I want to find out, how do we get a supervisor for the practicum?
Your supervisor.
Yes, please. How do you get
this question shows that you are ever ready to do the practicum. I'm glad to hear this. I'm glad to have this feedback. Yes, your supervisors will be given. We will share the supervisors, so you'll be informed who your supervisors are. Pretty soon you will be informed who your supervisors are.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Prof, good evening.
Good evening. Please mention your name and your center.
Yeah, I'm Vicente Mensa, Secondary Center.
Secondary, right?
Yeah, please, can we have the slides on this practicum?
All right. I'll seek the consent of ITECPD before I do that, but I'm ever willing to do that. I think they will allow. If they agree that I give you the slide, I'll do so.
Okay, Prof. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Prof.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Sandra Yawa Obosensen.
Sandra, you're welcome.
Thank you. Please, my question is, I remember during one of our lectures, you sent a copy of the introductory lectures.
Which center are you, please?
St. John's Grammar, please.
Accra, okay.
Accra, yes, please.
Now your question.
We received a copy of the introductory letters, actually, but then when we printed it out, the printout was not good at all. So I remember during one of our lectures with you, we mentioned if it was possible to work on it and give us a output before we submit.
Okay, so it means that it is blurred. The introductory letter is blurred.
Yes, please.
When you printed them out.
Yes,
okay. I will pass the information to ITECPD and see what we can do about that.
Okay, so thank you.
Right.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, Doc.
Good evening.
Sweba Yaku from Secondary Center.
Excuse me?
Sweba Yaku from Secondary Center.
Okay.
Please, sir, the introductory letters, the Secondary Center, we don't have it. So should we go to our coordinator or because I'm not receiving it?
Okay, pass your request through your coordinator to ITECPD. Okay. Okay. Secondary Center. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll take note. ITECPD will take note. Secondary Center, no introductory letter. Right.
Yes.
Prof, good evening.
Good evening.
Please, this is Juliet from Batco Center, Tamale.
Okay, Juliet. What's your concern?
Please, my concern is that some of us are working under difficult superiors. So I don't know if there will be a provision for the center to give us some letters to be given to our superiors so that we can always get the opportunity to leave our job places to go for the practicum.
Well, but what do you mean by you have difficult superiors? What do you mean?
Yeah, me,
Are they,
my
it
boss,
doesn't mean that they are not aware that you are on this course, this program.
yeah, they are aware, but they refuse to give me a steady leave.
No, you see, yeah, we know that you are all workers. That's why we the program is done this way. The program is programmed to meet your needs. You know, we know that you are workers. That's why we do it at weekends. Okay, so we know that all of you are workers. So it is up to you to schedule your activities, you know, your program yourself such that you can have time also for the practical. Okay, so if you are, let's say, a tutor, and you know that your lessons are on Mondays and Tuesdays or Wednesdays, Thursday and Friday, and then the weekends, you can use these periods for your after all, when you meet the client, you schedule the time with your client. So you tell the clients the very period that you will be available. If you are having your practicum in a basic school, okay, you give them the time that you'll be available. That will not actually interfere with your regular or your routine activities in your workplace. So it is up to you to manage, you know, manage. And after all, the weekends are also there, which you can meet other clients individually, right? So that is it.
Actually, I was thinking our coordinators can give us some letters to be sent to our workplaces.
Well, I'll pass on the information, but I doubt whether we haven't done that before, and I doubt whether there will be any positive response to that. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Hello.
Hello, Prof.
Hello.
Yes, Prof.
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
Please, I wanted to find out when I'm supposed to start the practicum actually, and when is it supposed to end?
Place your question again.
Okay, please, I'm asking, when are we supposed to start? Have you given us this?
To start the practicum.
Are we supposed to start, and when are we supposed to finish? Just to be able to see how some of us can work with our work schedules and make time as well for them.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to find out when you are starting the next semester. Your practicum, you can start it just this evening.
Bro.
Hello.
Hello, Prof.
You can start it just this evening after this orientation. You can start picking your clients, thinking about where the sites you'll be picking. So you have already started. When you begin to plan, you have started. That's why I said just this evening.
Okay, good.
So as you go to sleep, we start thinking about which sites will I go, which schools, you know the area. So which schools should I pick, which schools should I go to seek permission, and so forth and so on. You have started a practicum. And as regards when you complete the practicum. I remember last year, Accra, the time was so limited that they were complaining. So I told them that they can continue with the practicum even whilst we are having the next session. Are you getting it? Hello?
The second.
Yeah, the second session, second semester, you can call it anyhow, right? So start now. It is important to start, but when to end, we will let you know. But I believe that we can continue the practical until we demand your report.
Okay.
Yeah. The earlier you start, the better, because the early bird catches the worm.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Hello, Prof. Thank you. I got it. Thank you.
Who is on the line?
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Good evening, Prof.
Good evening. Who are you and where are
Please,
you calling?
I'm Elizabeth Kwesi from Secondary Center.
Good.
Please, I would like to know whether the supervisors will be the lecturers who take us through the the counseling course.
It's most likely.
Oh, okay.
It's most likely, but I don't know. ITECPD management may decide to do otherwise, but I think that the supervisors who took you through the course are so handy, they are close to you, and they can handle you effectively.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof.
You're welcome. I think I will take 2 more calls and then. Hello? All right. If there are no comments or questions, then we will wind up and call it a day. I'm glad that most of you are desirous to start your practicum. It's very, very important. It's a requirement that you cannot forgo. It's a requirement that everybody, if you don't do it, you will trail, and you'll be required to do it next academic year to graduate. It is part of your requirements to graduate. So you shouldn't trivialize this aspect of your course. Go in with all seriousness and do it. And benefit from it. Again, I want to remind you that this orientation is recorded, and so it will be given to ITECPD, and they will do justice. They will know what to do, either to send it to you or share it on your platforms. On this note, I want to say goodbye, and I wish you well. Hold on for a few announcements, and then we'll be gone. Thank you.
Good evening. Please, the small girl is disturbing our peace. Tell the small girl that we'll engage her later.
He wants to be part of the
Yes, she's already part of it. All right. Thank you very much for being part of our this evening. Prof has said it all. But for your information, when we are doing your practicum, there are rudiments that we follow, or protocols that we follow. Practicum is a document that you compare as a result of your experience in a particular case that you witness in a facility. So you'll be writing a report about it. For what we have had so far, the reports are scanty. They are not carrying the needed information that you might have learned from the settings that you went. So now we are going to go by the strict rules and regulations proposed by the university. A minimum of 70 pages for your practicum, because you are doing 600 credits. A minimum of 70 pages. The same thing applies to the portfolio. The portfolio replaces the dissertation. So we need a minimum of 70 pages for both. And there are two different things. So with the portfolio, when we start the second semester, the various lecturers who will be taking you through will tell you all that you need to do before. So have that in mind. But with the practicum, from today, you can start. The issue of the letter, introductory letter, God willing, tomorrow, we shall roll out a new one. I believe most of you have not even submitted yours. So the new one will come and to be clear. You will print it, add your name to the part of that either we have opened, then you submit to the facility that you want to do it. With the supervision, I'm 80% sure that the lecturers who taught you are those that are going to come. They will visit you at the various centers. But we think about budget as well. So it's likely there may be adjustment in fees, although we are not pretty sure, but there may be adjustment in fees to cater for those practical components of the program. And again, sometimes you go to your settings and you don't have any document to indicate your itinerary, whatever that you do there. From our department, they adopted a document that the students does themselves, or they buy. They buy at 50 Ghana cedis. I will look for a sample and send to all the centers. If you are ready, they will run for you. So whatever thing that you do, that is where you jot it, so that when you are writing your practicum report, it won't go against you. You may have everything there, then you just transfer onto your laptop using the typing system, so that you can have up-to-date information, and your mentor in the facility will sign that. That document will serve as a document that you use to license yourself after the program. Because if you don't have a document that catalogs all that you have done, and you go to GPC, your licensure will be very difficult, because we cannot track the number of credit hours that you have done. But with that document, it will help you. That document is not official from ITECPD. It's not official from ITECPD. And I've suggested that maybe those who may follow you next year, it will be part and parcel of their school fees, and they will print it for them. But your group, you have to finance it yourselves, because they never factored that in. That is what we have for you this evening. And have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So have a nice evening. Good night.
Good night, Prof.
Mhm.
Yeah, good night, Prof. Thank you very much.